Welcome to the Nameless.
I live alone. That's not the scary part. The scary part is the note I found pushed under my door, written in my handwriting. I remember staring at it for a long time before picking it up. The paper was torn from one of my own notebooks. The pen was the cheap blue one I keep in a mug by the sink. It said, "Don't open the door tonight. You already did once." I knew right away that I hadn't written it, but every loop, every lazy slant of the letters said otherwise. It looked like something I would write when I was tired or distracted. It looked familiar in a way that made my stomach feel hollow. I live in a basement apartment on the edge of town. It's nothing special. One bedroom, low ceilings, windows that sit just above ground level. I moved there after a bad breakup because it was cheap and quiet. No roommates, no thin walls, no shared spaces. I work from home doing data entry for a medical billing company, so most days I barely leave. That's important because it means I know my routines. I know when I sleep, when I eat, when I shower. I know where I leave things. I know the sound my door makes when it opens and when it closes. I also know I don't sleepwalk. I never have. The building is old but well maintained. 4 units total. 2 upstairs, 2 down. I'm the only one in the basement on my side. The other basement unit has been empty for months because of water damage. My landlord told me that himself when I asked why I never heard anyone down there. I keep to myself. I don't have friends dropping by. I don't drink much. I don't use drugs. My life is boring in the way that feels safe. That's why the note messed with me so badly. There was no easy explanation to grab onto. At first, I assumed it was a prank. Maybe someone upstairs thought it would be funny. Maybe the landlord was messing with me. But that fell apart quickly. No one else had access to my notebooks or my pens.
And the note wasn't threatening in a prank way. It felt concerned, like it was trying to warn me. I checked my phone. No missed calls, no strange texts. The timestamp on the photo I took of the note showed it was just after midnight. I was still in my work clothes. I hadn't been asleep. I hadn't gone out. I slid the deadbolt and chain on the door even though they already were. Then I checked the windows. They were locked. The tiny bathroom window too, the one near the ceiling that I can barely reach. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the couch with the lights on. The note folded and unfolded so many times the creases went soft. Around 3 in the morning, I heard something outside my door. Not footsteps, not knocking, just a faint brushing sound, like paper being dragged across concrete. I didn't open the door. In the morning, there was nothing there. No second note, no marks, no signs of anyone being in the hallway. I told myself, stress can do weird things to your brain.
I threw the note away and went about my day. That lasted exactly 2 days. On the 3rd night, I came home from the grocery store and noticed my door was unlocked. I know people say that all the time and are wrong, but I wasn't wrong. I lock it every time. It's muscle memory. I stood there holding a bag of frozen food, staring at the handle like it had betrayed me. Nothing looked disturbed inside. No drawers open, no missing items. My laptop was where I left it. My TV was off. But there was another note on the kitchen counter. This one said, "I told you not to open it again." Same paper, same pen, same handwriting. I checked my phone immediately. No strange activity, no alarms I didn't remember setting, no gaps in time. I pulled up my computer and checked the login history for everything I could think of. Nothing. I started taking pictures of everything before I left the apartment. The stove, the doors, the windows, the inside of the fridge. I told myself it was for peace of mind. Deep down, I think I was trying to prove I existed the way I thought I did. The notes kept coming, sometimes under the door, sometimes on my desk. Once folded and tucked into my shoe while I was in the shower. They were never long, always short, blunt sentences. "You were standing right here. You didn't see me that time.
"Stop checking the locks." The worst one said, "You keep forgetting." I started sleeping with my phone recording audio on the nightstand. I set up my laptop camera facing the door. I barely slept anyway. Every sound felt too close. The building settled and groaned like it always had, but now it felt like it was doing it on purpose. When I reviewed the footage, there was nothing. Hours of me tossing, sitting up, rubbing my face. No one else. No doors opening. No shadows moving where they shouldn't. But the notes continued. I began noticing smaller things. My chair angled slightly different.
The shower curtain pulled closed when I knew I left it open. My browser history showing searches I didn't remember making. Things like, how long can someone stay hidden? And signs you're being watched but can't see them. I stopped leaving the apartment unless I had to. I ordered groceries, I ignored work emails. I stopped answering calls from my sister because I didn't know how to explain any of it without sounding insane. One night, while brushing my teeth, I caught movement in the mirror behind me. I spun around so fast I hit my elbow on the sink. There was nothing there, just the closed bathroom door and my reflection looking pale and wrong. When I looked back at the mirror, there was writing fogged into the glass. "You missed me." I don't know how long I stood there, long enough for the steam to fade and take the words with it. I sat on the floor afterward and laughed until it hurt, because laughing felt better than screaming.
The encounter, if you can call it that, happened on a Tuesday. I remember because trash day is Tuesday, and I had put the bag by the door. I woke up to the sound of my own voice. It was coming from the living room. Low, steady, like someone talking on the phone. I stayed in bed, every muscle locked. I recognized the rhythm before I recognized the words. It was the way I talk when I'm explaining something. Calm, patient. I crept to the bedroom door and opened it an inch. The lights were off. The apartment was dark, except for the glow from the streetlight through the window. I could see the outline of the couch, the table, and someone sitting in my chair. They were facing away from me. Their posture was wrong, like they were sitting the way they thought I would sit. The voice kept talking, saying things I had said before. Complaints about work, jokes I'd made to myself. I didn't see their face. I didn't want to.
A note slid across the floor toward my bedroom door, slow and deliberate, pushed by a hand I couldn't quite make out. It stopped at my feet. "You're doing it again," it said. "You're pretending this is new." The voice stopped. The apartment went completely silent. I backed into my bedroom and shut the door as quietly as I could. I locked it and pushed my dresser against it, hands shaking so badly I could barely grip the wood. I called the police. I whispered. I told them someone was in my apartment. They told me to stay on the line. They told me help was coming. While I waited, I heard footsteps, slow ones, not heavy, not light, just deliberate. They stopped outside my bedroom door. Then my own voice spoke from the other side. "It's okay," it said. "This is the part where you leave." There was no banging, no trying the handle, just that voice, calm and familiar and wrong. The police arrived. I heard them enter, heard them call my name.
When they opened the bedroom door, the living room was empty. No signs of forced entry, no extra fingerprints, no notes. They asked me questions, a lot of them. I answered as best I could. I watched their faces change when I showed them the notes I'd kept hidden in a drawer, when I played the audio recordings that were nothing but silence. They suggested stress, lack of sleep, carbon monoxide. They checked for leaks. Everything was fine. I didn't go back inside after that. I grabbed a bag and stayed with my sister. I told her I'd had a break-in scare. She didn't push. I moved out a week later. New place,
New locks, new routines. I sleep with the lights on now. I don't live alone anymore. But sometimes, when I'm not paying attention, I find notes in my handwriting, on receipts, on the edges of newspapers, short reminders. You're safer when you remember. I don't know what I forgot. I don't know how long it's been happening.
I only know that sometimes, late at night, I'll hear myself speaking from another room, explaining something patiently, like I've done this before, and I make sure not to open the door.